Hello? No, not yet. Short a minute. Power animal vocal parts. Hello. Live chat. Live chat. Who's that? Hello. Thank you for the thumbs up. They were the thumbs up. Create the beauty inside and around you. Nice. What's it about swim? Look up tonight. Smell the fragrance in the air. Greet the sunrise tomorrow. Hear the this weird. Or the hiss of Mother Nature's creatures as she awakens for the day. Look and really see the bounty. Oh, hello, guys. Can you type in there to see if it comes up? Look and see and really see the beauty and elegance of everything, from the tiniest leaf to a gigantic tree and all that's in between. Don't judge what you see or experience as good or bad. Instead, appreciate the precious uniqueness. Hey, thank you, Lola. Experience, appreciate the precious uniqueness of the diverse elements that make up this wonderful world in which we exist. You really need to get outdoors in nature to deepen this experience of appreciation. Mother Earth is your true mother. You're birthed from her through your biological mother. Honor her by simply reveling in the remarkable tapestry of her diverse expressions. And as you do, breathe deeply and slowly. You and your world are intimately interwoven, and you're alive in that world. Appreciate your own beauty and the magnificent being that you are as you revel in the elegant exquisiteness of all that you see here and now. Additional associations: peace, elegance, purity, and innocence. Nice. First time I even looked at these cards. Good stuff. Stephen D. Farmer, PhD. Stephen D. Farmer, PhD, is a licensed psychotherapist, shamanic practitioner, and ordained minister with more than 30 years of experience as a professional healer and teacher. He's the author of Power Animals and Sacred Ceremony, as well as several books and articles. He makes his home in Laguna Beach, California. That's what I'm reading from. And there's that oracle card I got on the other day. Would you like one? Would you like me to? So this is the first time to tell me when to stop. Tell me when. Oh, lizard. Dream time. Pay attention to your dreams and visions. Can't we see that, can you? There's a place underneath the conscious mind, below the instinctual self, where one's usual identity is dissolved and you are pure witness. Observing detached perspective, this place is called the dream time, where all apparent boundaries between self and other disappear. What remains is unadulterated awareness specific to you, yet at the same time expanded into the boundless universe. In this place, that is at the very core of your experience, you also profoundly comprehend that you're simultaneously a body and something much greater than merely a body. The dream time is a place where there is no sense of boundaries between your body and surroundings. In this mystical, surreal state of pure experience, you're always guided by the inspirational spirit. Your dreams and visions are the window into the absolute reality. So watch your dreams closely and pay attention to your visions. They will always guide you and lead you, but more especially at this time. And the additional associations are primal, ancient, reflexive, and spontaneous. Nice. I cleansed these cards and whatnot before I used them. But these are first, not brand new because they weren't sealed in a thing book, but I did cleanse them, which you should do. Oh no, £8.50. That's not bad. Yeah. So I was just I got these cards as well. It's totally different, but it's like a card game called I don't know, I can't remember what it's called. What was that? Oh, battery. Yeah. It's letters. On both sides, on that side. These are quick cleanses. So some smoke coming off that. These cards. So activity. Take them away into the lot. Thank you. Squirrel away. What's up, mate? I just thought, fuck it, I'll go for it. Do you want A? This will, I just bought these oracles, and guess what? One of the things are. Right, tell me when to stop. Oh, if you want me to pull one, I'll be interested to see what happens. There's one particular card that comes out. If you want to, would you like to? I'm going to do read them from a book in a minute, but I was just messing about there with these cards. Yeah, right. Okay. Hang on, I'll start doing it now. Does that mean no or mean stop? Oh, hang on. That's difficult because I did the first one to come out. Right. Well, I'll have two on this one. Got owl. Pay attention to signs. That's good for me. And pelican. Humans as well. Let go of your judgments. Yeah. Get owl first. Luckily, alphabetical. To find the answer you're seeking, it's extremely important to pay attention to signs, especially repetitive ones. These are clues you can see, hear, or feel around you. Sometimes they're subtle, sometimes very obvious. These messages may come through a conversation you overhear, a newspaper headline, or you just happen to glance at a friend calling on the phone, or any number of other ways. The key is to be open at this most auspicious time for guidance in the form of these omens. These are not random occurrences, although they appear outside your own skin. These are not random occurrences. Although they appear outside your own skin, they're responding to a call your soul is making, whether or not you're aware of it. These omens or manifestations of spirits' directives. So it's important to keep an open mind and heart as to the cues you're receiving. Don't overanalyze them, but do heed them. By observing with all your senses the wisdom of the natural world, and even the human-made world will speak to you. And the additional associations of wisdom, shadows, secrecy, and magic. And then the pelican. Next one. Each time you judge yourself or others, you immediately cause the illusion of separation. Separate from your environment, from other human beings, and most critically, separation from the Creator and all of creation. Immersing yourself in the illusion creates pain that manifests as hurt, anger, or even attack in words or deed. If you stop and reflect, you'll find that you judge others is really a projection of a shadow aspect of yourself. Therefore, the source of these judgments is not just contained in the other, it's something in yourself you may not be aware of. What does that think about? Once you realize how judgments separate, there's an opportunity for you to forgive first the other person for his or her yourself as you identify the shadow aspect in you that you had projected onto this individual. In the light of this real I know that, mate. And you yourself as you identify the shadow aspect in you that you have protected onto this individual. In the light of this realization, all illusion of separation vanishes. This is true forgiveness, not an mantra you again in order to support someone, some false notion of forgiveness, but a genuine release of any and all judgments. When you've forgiven, this act returns you to a state of love and peacefulness. You'll know when this has happened because you'll feel the natural and tranquil state of unity with the Creator and all of creation. Additional also grace and selfishness, self-sacrifice and cooperation. Well, maybe that one necessarily one for you. I think the owl was right for you. But I'll find the squirrel anyway, because it's a cool card. Squirrel's going to be squirreling around, sniping. Kangaroo there. Badger, a buffalo, monkey, squirrel. There you go. It's right. Preparation. Get ready for big changes. Would you like to hear what it says about the squirrel? I'm interested. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. No, I mean, our reminder to have fun. Yeah, maybe not take life too seriously. Feel the anticipation of what you know is coming. Get everything ready and in place. This can be a new job, a new relationship, or a major move. There will be no. I mean, I haven't pulled this one, but I would like Squirrel to hear it because I think it's, isn't it? There will be no doubt. There will no doubt be challenges, but you can pressure for them in a number of ways. Prepare for pressure. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Dino, what's on, brother? I'll pull one for you in a minute, Dino. I'm never going to get to this bloody Grail book. The most important kind of readiness has to do with your mind. How smoothly you move through these changes is totally dependent on your attitude, thoughts, and beliefs. There's no need to scurry, no need to worry. Rather than rush, make each movement count. If you worry, it will just make everything a lot harder. It's true. Just do what you have to do to prepare. But at this time, it's better to stay active, focused, and purposeful in your efforts. Get a sense of where you're going, even if you may change course later. Rely on family and close friends for support before and during this transition. And most important, keep breathing. Additional associations, gathering, activity, alertness, and guardian. Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Oh, fucking hell. 5 people. Oh, I might get a couple of people in there now and then. Do you like a card, Dean? I do like what they say. That's what I would usually do, but these are pretty new cards. I've only just pulled them out, and because they haven't been shuffled much, they oh, there you go, Dove. Because they haven't been shuffled much, they don't pop out quite as easy, I'd say. Like a well shuffled deck are easier to shuffle and not so stuck. Hey, just JP, what's up? Oh, there you go. I've got 2 just come out there. The bottom one is lion and the top one is moose. So I'll say, Dean, you're lion because you were before JP, who is moose. Oh, hang on. Oh, I ain't got the moderators, have I? Oh, God. So that means, yeah, you, thank you. Right, so I'll go with you, Dino, first. I think I'll have to, how do I make a, oh, fuck it, I'll make it for a minute. There is going to be anyone too nasty coming in there. Lion, courage, ask for what you want. So this is your one, Dino. Although you can all take it for if you want. Lion. And we're in Leo season. But if you've read about Ophiuchus, you're not. Ask what you want. Don't assume that others in the world around you will know at any given moment preferences are. You must announce them. Speak out directly and clearly. If you do state your wants and needs, the worst that can happen is that you won't get what you want. But I'll guarantee that if you don't ask, you're much less likely to get what you want. First, ask yourself whether something simple like a request to pass assault, or something more daring and complex like a hug or kind word from a loved one or friend. The more personal your desires, the harder it can be to ask. But really, what's at risk? That someone will say no, that you won't get what you want. Hey, what's up, London man? You won't get what you want, that you'll be shamed or scorned. It's going to take courage, not fearlessness, but courage. You can be. Oh, I don't know what I'm saying. You can be. You can be afraid and still risk expressing your wants. This flies in the face of all your earlier training. Keep quiet and suffer in silence, but you continue being a martyr, denying yourself the privilege of receiving. It makes life a lot easier to know the power of expressing your desires and the additional associations: ferocity, nobility, dignity, and service. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, wait. Oh, right, I get it. Oh, I'm gonna have to. So how do I make people give people? How do I make people spanners? Do I press on them? Ah, enough. Right. Do you know? Also got, where is she? Layla, not old. Okay. There you go. There you go. No, you're not a spanner. Oh, it's a wrench, isn't it? Sorry. Get that wrong. Right, you're all fucking spanners now. Right, Moose, where are we? I'm gonna get onto the right. I'm gonna get onto the Grail. I'll put one feed on demand as well before anyone else comes in. In spite of the pressures, ultimately it's up to you to make choices you make. Realizing this fully not only gives you greater freedom and autonomy, but also places the responsibility squarely on your shoulders. For those choices, your car has brought you to this place in your life, and it's time to guide above and beyond any other counsel you've gotten. It's your life, and you can choose. It can still be useful to listen to others and seek help when you need to. However, no matter what suggestions or ideas you get, see if how you resonate. See how they resonate with you. Don't blindly trust anyone's input. Instead, use your intuition and intelligence to see what fits and what doesn't. There's no need to be obedient to anyone anymore. You're it. The only exception, and it's a major one, is to heed the voice of the Creator. Manifests in any number of ways, inside and outside of you. That is the ultimate voice of authority and will never say you wrong. And the additional association is warrior, self-esteem, balance, and fearlessness. Oh no, 34%, sorry. Right, draw one London man. Do you want me to put you a card? Oh, so that was first was Dino and second was just JP. Well, I think that Moose one can go for all of us really, because we're all sort of taking on all these new ideas and what sort of fits for us and what doesn't. Like I was saying to my nephew earlier, like he was trying to tell me guarantee, and I was like, you can't guarantee anything. But you know, on most levels, all the stuff we've got to take what we personally from our own experiences and how that fits into what those people are saying, because there we go, that would be your best mare going. 420 breaks. I'll go 420s, half an hour off. Right, so London, would you like a card, mate? Just say one, or if one pops up actually. Seal. Solitary brother. Imagination. Imagination. Immerse yourself in artistic and creative expression. Wow, I think you've done better than that. Seal. Your subconscious mind is the playground of your imagination. which waits to be called out by your willingness to unleash the bonds of personal tension and social restraint, to challenge and surpass the usual limits you place upon yourself regarding artistic expression. This means nothing less than to realize your familiar sense of identity and to stretch the boundaries. Well, what's happened to Seal? Has he died? I don't know. Well, it doesn't make any difference. It's time to release your familiar sense of identity and stretch the boundaries of your creative mind. It's not a matter of believing or disbelieving that you have any talent of any kind of creative pursuits. It's a matter of surrendering the imaginative impulse that's begging to be expressed in some form. So, uh, so drop underneath those restricted beliefs, and tap into the most natural drive toward creative artistic expression. Perhaps something you've always wanted to do, but have stopped yourself until now. Feel in all its depth and dimensions, then throw yourself into it. Whether it's singing, dancing, painting, drawing, writing, or some other path, this or even producing um, videos for us all. Man, nice singing, dancing, painting, drawing. I've done that. Don't put it off any longer. It's time to take the plunge. Addition, creativity, grace, adaptation, and playfulness. Wow, that's fucking brilliant. Well, that's a great card. Seal. That's a great card. Right, I think I'm up to date with everyone now. So I hope you all enjoyed them. They're pretty cool. Me personally, the reason I got these is because last year had a healing weekend here, and I've been. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of this, but it's a thing called animism, and I've been like, well, lately it was for a long time herons, and I still see herons when I need to, but oh right, yeah. So I mean club stuff. Oh well. Um, yeah. So I've been seeing birds of prey like fucking crazy, and especially two of them. And yesterday I was driving along, and where I live a certain way ago, it's really bumpy, low roads with a little bridge. And I pulled up to this bridge. There's just this hawk just sat on the like post, just looking at me. I thought, you know, I've this has happened before, but you know, yeah, right. Um, this this hawk would just look at me, so I slowed down. I was like, hello, I stopped. It flew off. I flew round, circled round, and went off and away. So I took that as a positive. Um, Quite often it could be something you're thinking about, something you're looking for. Like the other day when I found like literally Holy Grail, which I'm about to read about. This place I've been looking for about 5 or 6 years, and it was all down to these two birds. Uh, uh, and it must be, well, I don't know. I live right out in the country, so I'm going to see more wildlife. But there are plenty of wildlife in cities and whatnot. Um, right, anyway, let's go read a chapter of this. Let's have a look how big the chapter is first. Mm-hmm. Not too big. Ooh, yeah. Mind you, if you're working for someone and they supply you tools, stuff could get nicked all the time. Let's find that page. Where is it? 260. So, this is a book. This one before. This is Joseph Arimathea. So, on 2 cruets, let's say. But weirdly, the church in Burnham, where Paradise is, I took a picture, and it's literally, it's got a picture of a Grail, and next to it, so there you go. Right. Answers of the Grail, I Breathe You. And this book's by, it cost me 20 quid, so it must be one. We'll never spend 20 quid in a book. By Roger Sherman Lewis. No legal age except those endorsed by the church has had so strong, evocative and provocative power as the strange fiction which grew up around the Grail. Thanks to Tennyson and Wagner, Galahad have become types of chastity, and the quest of the mysterious vessel has come to mean, on the one hand, a vain following after wandering fires, or, on the other hand, the arduous search for a supreme mystical experience. Wow, I mean, I think we've all a bit of that, aren't we? In one way or another. The stories of the Grail, for there are many of them, have exercised a potent fascination on eminent literary men of our time, with surprisingly varied results. On T.S. Eliot, Arthur Machen, John Cowper Powys, T.H. White, and Julian Groch the first. Oh, I think that's first. They inspired Charles Williams to the writing of a modern thriller about the struggle between the forces of evil and those of good for the possession of the vessel, as well as the composition of a spiritual epic ranging from Wales to Byzantium and from the edge of hell to the region of the summer stars. Yes, mate, you go to bed. Go to bed. The last one, gendered in our century so diverse an offspring, for they form a bewildering assortment of battle and banquet, earthly magic and sacramental miracle, blood feuds and mysterious rites. Bewilderment begets curiosity and seeks a solution, and over the last 100 years, scholars and would-be scholars have tried to discover the secrets of the Grail, with such contrasting results. That the reading public, eager for enlightenment, may well feel more puzzled than ever. The quest of the Holy Grail was led to the Punjab in India, to the place of Artrius in and the Zeus to Dodona. And another one like I'm going to say about his Chinese mum. To the monastery of Montserrat in Spain, to the palace of Chosroes in Persia and the Christian shrine of Constantinople. Pick up a book on the subject and told with a great show of erudition that the object itself was derived from the cauldron of the Irish god Dagda, from the eye of the Egyptian god Thoth, symbol of the female organ of generation from a pearl of Zoroastrian cult named Gohar, from a talisman of the heretical Albigensians, once adorned in a cave of the Pyrenees, from a great sapphire formerly preserved in the sanctity of St. Abbey. On the other hand, there are those scholars who are content to believe that Grail was an ab origine, conceived as a peculiarly holy Eucharistic vessel. Not all of those speculations are as fatuous as incredible as they seem, and some find their excuse in not their justification, in the diversity and their contradictions of the medieval texts themselves. For in them, too, there is a strange disagreement. The Grail may be described as the dish from which Christ ate the Passover lamb and the supper, or as the chalice of the first sacrament of which later the Saviour's blood was caught as it flowed his wounded body, or as a stone with miraculous feeding and youth-preserving virtues, or as a salver containing a man's head swimming in blood. It may be borne through a castle hall by a beautiful damsel, or it may float in the air in Arthur's palace, veiled in white samite, or or be placed on a feast of freshly caught fish and serve as a talisman to distinguish the chaste from the unchaste. Its custodian may be called Bron, or Anfortus, or Pellers, or Joseph Arimathea, or simply the fishery king. He may be sound of wind and limb, or pierced through the thighs, or wounded in the genitals. The hero who achieves the quest may be the notoriously amorous Gawain, or the Virgin Galahad. Whence came their fantastic development of Arthurian legend, the development of which the first record is found in a French poem dated 1180, and which the next 50 years produced so many wildly variegated forms. How did it become to be linked with the relics of the Passion, and what it all mean? First, take a sweeping glance of the body of literature we shall later examine in detail in the endeavour to solve its problems. The principal texts concerned with the Grail fall into two classes. Those which relate the adventures of the Knights of King Arthur, those who relate the history of the vessel from the time of Christ to the time of Merlin, and which account for its removal from the first, and the two in the second romances of the first group are the Conte de Grail or Perceval, composed by Chrétien de Troyes, a poet of Champagne, for Philip, Count of Flanders. The second, for long continuance of the same two, one by Manassier, one by Gerbert of Montreux, a Bavarian knight which was the inspiration of Wagner's Parsifal. The Welsh prose romance Perdure, included in Lady Guest's collection of the Mabinogion, which is like Welsh history. The Dido Parsifal, a French prose romance so called from the name of the former owner of the manuscript. Perlesvaus, a prose romance from northern France or Belgium, translated by Sebastian Evans of the High History of the Holy Grail. The prose Lancelot, which forms the third member of the vast compilation of 8 cycles. Oh no, shit. Oh well, best of luck with that. Do you know, mate? I'm only going to read one more page now and finish anyway. Maybe not 3 more pages. The Quest del San Grail, the fourth member of the same cycle, Mallory has made us familiar with most of the Grail material in the Lancelot, and with the Quest by his abridged version in books 11 to 17 of the Book of King Arthur. The two romances dealing with the early history of the Grail are 9, Joseph the Arimathea, by the Burgundian poet Robert de Boron. There we go. Number 10. This is what's most interesting. This is, I wonder what it was said. L'Histoire del Saint Graal, the first member of the Vulgate cycle, but probably composed after Lancelot and the Quest. And that Histoire Saint Graal is what I've been saying. Because I looked. Number 10. They put. Mate. They originally put one thing was talking about the Histoire Saint Graal, the history of the Holy Grail in English, but it doesn't mean that. It means estuary or estuary because it can change you. Yeah. The classification is by no means absolute, since the continuations of the Comte de Grail, Wolfram's Parsifal, and Didot Percival, and the Quest introduced variants of the early history of the Holy Vessel. A later and much neglected poem, Son de Nancy, describes a visit to the Grail Castle located strangely off an island off the coast of Norway, and contains a brief early history of the vessel, woven part from the Histoire del Saint Graal. Hey, what's up, mate? Thanks for coming by. I'll make you better make you a moderator. The Histoire Saint Graal. Besides the romances listed, numerous medieval translations of French texts into other languages, including Norse, Welsh, Irish, English, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, German, and Dutch. The total bulk of the Grail romance produced by the Renaissance was prodigious, and that's the one fascination which the mysterious vessel exerted on the medieval imagination. It is, however, all the basic texts listed above were composed within a period of about 50 years. The earliest Chrétien poem was written about 1180. The first two, 1214 and 1227, going 1230. Wolfram's Percival was fixed between 1200 and 1210. The dates of the older versions cited are still uncertain, but probably precede 1230. Son de Nancy, alone of the romances to be discussed, belongs to the second half of the 13th century. If these dates convey little to the imagination, it may be helpful to recall some of the more memorable historical figures and events of the period in question. Between 1180 and 1200, there stand out the aging but vigorous Henry II, ruler of dominions which included England, Ireland, west of France, Eleanor of Aquitaine, his queen, patroness of poems, and mother of Richard Coeur de Lion. No worries, mate. Thank you. Richard of Lionheart, that means himself, who nearly succeeded in winning back the Holy Sepulchre from Saladin. His rival and enemy, the young King of France, Philip Augustus, 30 years after Trollon lost most of his continental possessions to Philip, was worsted in the struggle with the great Pope Innocent III. Hey, hello, Giselle, Giselle Garcia, um, and was compelled by his barons to sign the Magna Carta. St. Francis and St. Dominic revitalized the church by founding the mendicant orders. There were 3 crusades, one against the Albigensian heretics in southern France, which had the effect of crushing the gay world of the troubadours. One which was diverted to Constantinople and resulted in increased hostility between Western and Eastern Christendom and in flooding. Third expedition by the wily, free-thinking Emperor Frederick II, which secured by negotiation a brief time the city of Rome. None of these personages or events except the Crusades influenced perceptibly the Grail romances, but what surely though subtly affected them was the artistic and intellectual ferment of the time. This half century saw the building of Notre Dame at Paris, the cathedrals at Reims and Wells, which is this down the road here, and the choir of Lidkit. It also witnessed the growth of the universities of Paris, Bologna, and Oxford. At no period in the history of Western Europe have the arts and the zest for knowledge attained a higher level. The greatest literary masterpieces were yet to come, but the men of our period listened to the lyrics of the Goliards and Walter von der Vogelweide, the rugged brute of Laemon, and the tragic Tristan de Gottfried von Strasbourg. The Grail romances belong to a great experimental and creative epoch. The 10 listed above, it is worth noting, were all composed on the continent of Europe, except for Peredur, and it's generationally agreed that this romance consists for the most part of confused reminiscences of French or Anglo-Norman texts. No Anglo-Norman treatment of the Grail is extant, and all the Middle English versions, including Malory's, are rememberings from the French. This is strange, considering that the geography of the French quest romance so far as it relates to its reality is British, and that possession of the sacred relic redounded to the glory of Britain. How is this seemingly unnatural situation to be accounted for? Before seeking a direct answer to this and many other problems through an examination of the texts in modern English renderings, it would be sensible, indeed imperative, to look into the circumstances, literary and historical, which have a special bearing on the origin and growth of the fantastic legends. Examination of this material too, often ignored by interpreters on the subject, can we with assurance proceed to a detailed analysis of the principal medieval treatments of the Grail. Of these, the quest romances and Sondernonce will be discussed in chapters 4 to 13. The early history of the vessel in chapter 14. The Glastonbury developments will to be by an attempt to summarise the results of our investigation. There you go. So chapter 1 done. Probably the only way I'll actually get to read this, because I'm not really too up on reading too much. Anyway, I'd like to thank everyone that came by tonight, and I'm going to say good night, and thank you all for coming by. We've done an hour there. I'm going to crack on with some more art, doing the backgrounds for them. So yeah, everyone that came by, I appreciate it, and I look forward to the next thrilling episode of Grail. Ciao.